feel like I never say hello and welcome to the channel or anything like that. I always just do a cold open. Hello and welcome to the channel. When generative AI was first released, I think for a brief moment we all thought the boring, tedious tasks and jobs would become automated, making our lives a little less insufferable. The Marxist utopia was upon us, until we learned how much water and energy each prompt consumes just to tell you to put glue in your pizza sauce. How naive we were. In 2022, we were all so amazed to witness what was essentially a chatbot able to carry on a conversational dialogue with us that we thought it was genuine artificial intelligence. And the label stuck despite it not being the most accurate, as there is a big difference between generative AI and general AI. It has gotten more advanced, and by advanced, I of course mean steals everything from real people in order to function. Around the same time, Midjourney was also gaining attention, and people were blown away by its ability to generate whatever your silly, cringe millennial brain could think of, like images of a cute duck in a suit of armor, and whatever the hell this is. It's now able to create pretty believably authentic mixed media surrealist art, but again, all the data needed to achieve this has been from stealing the work of artists from across the internet. The only real regulation is that anything generated by AI is uncopyrightable. Data scraping itself is now so prevalent that it's been non-consensually added to everything from every Google product to our phones with things like Apple Intelligence that learns from the apps you use. This is maybe worse than when they forced that one U2 record on us a decade ago. Generative AI video, however, has lagged, if only due to its complexity, but the conversation around implementing it into media has been happening for a while now. In the very near future, it won't just be image and language AI slop clogging up Google search results and Twitter feeds, or being used as simple title cards in movies like Late Night with the Devil or on Subway advertisements alone. It will be deranged, airbrushed humanoid facsimiles in our movies and TV shows. Even though it's nowhere near ready to be implemented on a large scale or in all of Hollywood yet, there is a certain type of person who has taken away the wrong lesson from past Stable Diffusion models and LLMs making our lives worse. Instead of making mundane tasks obsolete, these dick-riding fanboys are jumping on the Soulless AI video bandwagon, genuflecting at the feet of companies that don't understand that humanity is what makes art worthwhile, and who want to replace it with diarrhea. Google has something called VO2, OpenAI has Sora, and Runway is a private startup with their Gen 3 Alpha that has actually been used in the production of Everything Everywhere All at Once, Kanye West music videos, and apparently on Top Gear, I assume to punch up the toilet humor. More like diarrhea. AI-area? They're all able to generate an uncanny simulacrum of landscapes and people and animals to a certain degree that are more unnerving than convincingly realistic. Generating videos of cute cats or dogs is also just so pointless, because the whole reason cute animal videos are fun to watch is because a real cat or dog did that silly thing. Forcing an AI to make a video like this, when there are probably countless real instances of something similar, begs the question, why? What purpose does it serve? What meaning are we deriving from its existence? It shouldn't be a priority to make this when the fun of seeing a dog jump on a pool floaty for real is in the chaotic chance that your pet will actually do something weird and incongruous to what we expect of our pets. That's what makes it fun. The dogs don't do that. Dogs aren't supposed to do that. It makes this feel like something a bored god would do when there were no more worlds to create. Celestial bodies? Check. Gravity? Check. The 4 laws of thermodynamics? Check. What about a dog Twitch streamer, though? The only use case I can see as of right now is to fool the elderly into giving up their life savings to some weirdo scammer. A couple weeks back, some self-proclaimed video editor and AI bootlicking Threads user posted this video with the caption, "RIP Hollywood?" stating it was created entirely using Google VO2 as if that were an astounding and incredible feat, and I'm sure technologically speaking, sure. But for what purpose when it still looks like dog water? This and every other AI breakthrough is one of those instances of creators being too concerned with whether they could, they didn't stop to think if they should. No cameras, no sets, just words turned into a film. Please excuse my pretentious film bro tone when I say, how dare you call this film? This is simply a collection of pixels that were trained on every gritty 70s heist movie, featuring a car chase blurred together into an incoherent mess of nothingness and makes me feel dead inside. Can anyone else taste ash in their mouth? Watching this is what it feels like to come down with the flu and get brain damage from 107-degree fever. This person got obviously absolutely decimated in the replies because no one wanted or asked for this. I love movies and filmmaking. I love bad movies and good movies alike because regardless of the end result, a large group of people, or one maniac, worked really hard to make it. Even the worst, most ill-advised bottom-of-the-barrel movies that lack any skillful execution of form or function are still better than anything AI has or will ever generate. At the end of the day, even the most unwatchable schlock is better because some lunatic took the time and effort, no matter how little, and put their art out into the world based on some misguided belief that it was actually worth filming. Neil Breen, Tommy Wiseau, Mark Regent, Donald Farmer, all of these filmmakers are the worst of the worst, but I am so glad that they made their art and gave it to us. There's, at the very least, novelty there, and even the worst offenders might be bad enough that their movie comes around to being, at the least, entertaining, and if nothing else, studied for how little it actually functions as a movie. And if there's one thing I've learned from commentary tracks and directors' interviews and behind-the-scenes making of documentaries and featurettes, it's that making a movie is a huge pain in the ass. It's a wonder any movie exists at all, and the fact that we have everything from Citizen Kane all the way to the incomparable Click starring Adam Sandler is a testament to the human will. These are not the things the vast majority of people want on the chopping block of automation, no matter how bad a human writer-director can be. I mean, entire cultures exist around bad movies that scrape through the shit to find the value in just how stinky it is for posterity's sake. Now, to be extremely pedantic about what is so awful about this idea that AI video is going to end Hollywood, I want to go through this boring chase sequence and prove that anyone who finds this good or amazing is either a gullible child who gets excited by shiny things and has no object permanence, or someone who has never seen moving pictures before and would die if you showed them an animated GIF. The sentiment that this is magic might hold up if you don't know anything at all about how movies are made, or what basic filmmaking rules are, or what visual language means. So let's start with visual language. I'm personally not a big fan of the auteur moniker, but most films do have a certain look to them based on the director. Wes Anderson is probably the best example of this, but so is David Fincher, Tarantino, Nolan, Coppola. No, not him, Sofia Coppola. They have staples and signature shots and themes they return to time and time again. Tarantino loves a trunk shot and feet. Fincher moves the camera in an inhuman, voyeuristic way, and I don't know what it is about some Nolan movies, but Jesus Christ, fire your gaffer. He's the lighting guy. His movies always look flat to me. It looks like you're watching a movie on a set. Like, you can tell it's a set. Does that make sense? I told you I'd be pedantic. These techniques can communicate more than simply dialogue, and the choice of lenses and cameras and the way a shot is composed, how many setups are used for a scene, and how it's all edited together changes the impact of that dialogue. To get a good feel for what visual language is, I highly recommend the old Every Frame a Painting video about David Fincher, specifically his breakdown of the office scene. God, I miss Every Frame a Painting. So what is the visual language telling us in this 2-minute clip? How should I be feeling about seeing glitchy generic criminal man run to a car, get in the car, drive the car through what is Firetown, USA, I guess, turn into a different guy altogether who's now driving a British car, crash the car because he was in the passenger seat like an idiot, turn into a third and then a fourth guy, run some more as a fifth guy, get shot at, then turn into Matthew Broderick with a mustache, and surrender and put on a completely different set of clothes. This guy's got more outfits than Luigi Mangione. I know what this is meant to communicate, a fast-paced and frenetic car chase, but from shot to shot, the intensity varies wildly, from following the car at a leisurely pace to doing burnouts as it fishtails around corners. Your brain gets emotional whiplash from second to second. Pun intended. I'm sure this was made just as a proof of concept that you can direct via AI prompting alone, but if the point is to prove that you can make a movie that tells an effective and engaging story, it utterly fails. And no, this isn't the worst it will ever be. It's going to continue to be bad for a long time. And besides that, it insists upon itself, lacking all the components necessary to convey a compelling story. No character, no plot, no structure. Even the Foley work is ass. In the distant future, it will be better, but again, the whole reason we like art and the humanities is because a real person had an idea and then made it come to fruition through hard work, dedication, and labor. A person, just like you or me, took their lived experience and translated that into a cinematic story with subtext and symbolism, where we suspend our disbelief and awe at the technical and logistical challenges it took to achieve it. We relate to these stories because they affect us on a deep personal level, or allow us to fantasize about existing in the worlds they create, providing a certain level of escapism. This is just a bastardization of homage, and simply knowing a computer extruded this from a couple paragraphs written by an unimaginative dork who lacks the capacity to think outside of what they've already seen is what people mean when they say this stuff is soulless. Now, visual language aside, the creator of this monstrosity either couldn't get the AI model to do exactly what they wanted, or they are unfamiliar with basic filmmaking rules, things like the 180-degree rule, proving this will not end Hollywood. Now, the 180-degree rule, for everybody unfamiliar, is typically used for shot, reverse shot dialogue scenes, so the audience doesn't feel disoriented about who's talking to who and where, but it's also applicable anytime someone is moving through three-dimensional space, like being chased through flaming city streets. We're constantly cutting to different sides of the character, giving the impression we're traveling in different directions from shot to shot, or another guy suddenly materializes and then quickly disappears. Not letting a scene breathe is another basic rule. You don't want to cut every 1 or 2 seconds during a shot of an action that only takes 7 seconds to complete. Granted, I mean, humans can't even do that properly either. Some of these shots are just jarring, like this jump cut from following behind the car to the same angle from inside the cop car behind it. Then this one of the car running into a dumpster that cuts to a shot that's closer and just more perpendicular on what is a different street entirely, so continuity's out the window too. Here we're above on the right to directly in front to then behind on the left. What is happening? I'm gonna puke. And I haven't even gotten to continuity and the lack of physics. The lighting, the streets, the car itself, even the facial hair is completely wrong with every new cut that feels less like intentional jump cuts and more like jump scares. So no, this isn't gonna replace movies, and if it ever does, we're not going to feel anything while watching it. Also, what is the end goal of making movies with AI? Because anyone can distribute it and make money from it because you can't copyright it. The very fact that none of these generative AI models would exist without people creating art should be proof enough that this technology is stupid and pointless. To be generous, some people might not understand what makes the heist and other AI video all that terrible. They might just be in awe of it simply because a computer made it. As Arthur C. Clarke said, any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. But they also might be tricked in consuming mis- and disinformation, like, oh, I don't know, when there's a natural disaster and people are spreading fake videos of LA firefighters saving bears and wolves from a fire that is exacerbated by AI companies sucking up all the water needed to fight said fires that have killed actual real people and destroyed tens of thousands of real homes. What the fuck, dude? This is tone deaf beyond comprehension and unethical and environmentally unfriendly to boot. So why do these AI bros continue to sing the praises of AI? Because they don't understand art and the value it holds among a society. And yes, I'm aware that is a massive generalization. Don't be weird. These are the same people who would rather consume gray, nutrient-rich Soylent because their brains can't comprehend what is enjoyable about normal foods and see masticating as an inefficient waste of time that could be spent coding more AI. The same people as Brian Johnson who think they can hack their own body into de-aging and just end up looking like an old lizard. The same people who tried to make NFTs a thing and see art as a get-rich-quick scheme. AI is just the new crypto, a scam that has no real-world application besides maximizing profits by calling it revolutionary. Companies then shove it into every aspect of our lives and go, look at our stock price, while the actual thing that inflated their valuation was laying off thousands of employees and getting competing platforms banned. And then unbanned. That's a whole other thing. These companies haven't created anything that fundamentally improves the lives of their users or workers or the public. And they're now in control of all aspects of society and government. I swear they'd take the side of the machines in the Matrix and voluntarily climb into one of those goo pods if given the chance and then post to LinkedIn what being a human battery taught me about B2B sales. These people think that every medium can be replicated with machine learning, especially digital art and VFX, and all those art dweebs are getting in the way of efficiency. They know that someone is sitting at a computer making Pixar movies, but they don't have an understanding of the knowledge that's been gained and required or the technical skill these artists employ to make a final product. And now they can just type out some vapid prompt and get something they think is equally good as The Incredibles, or I guess Bullet. But because they don't value art and, more importantly, stories, even the best, most high-fidelity render of a Pixar-style superhero will never be as memorable as the crudest cell animation Disney movie, because it's not just about how cool something looks, it's about how good a story it is first. Movies don't get greenlit from concept art if there's no story holding it all together. There is no intrinsic value in making something cool for the sake of cool because it holds no meaning or historical context or is relatable to humanity. Like this. What purpose does making a mashup of two versions of the Joker into one infinitely boring and weird version serve? It looks cool, so you can realize your bullshit hypothetical of what if Joaquin Phoenix was cast as the Dark Knight? Who gives a shit? It didn't happen. You're living in unreality and wasting everyone's time and energy, both figuratively and literally. We need that energy to power our homes and make clean drinking water. Stop. Now that AI video and image and text exists and is out there ruining the planet, we have to recontextualize how we determine what art is. Before, we could have a philosophical debate about whether a Rothko or a Pollock was art, or if a banana taped to a wall was art. Our subjectivity was as much a factor as context, technique, composition, medium, symbolism, and even how prolific an artist was, because art was still made by human hands. With the advent of generative AI, anything a human being has made and called art is now art. Tampon in a teacup? Art. That painting of Jesus that looks like a monkey? Fucking art, actually, really. I'll even give Ai Weiwei a pass. To me, the defining feature of art moving forward is that it has to be made by human hands. Even those paintings dogs do is more art than anything AI can or will generate. Calling the slop AI pumps out art is an affront to creativity and human inspiration. Even the most commercialized human art that was made simply for a paycheck is more art than AI because someone still had an idea and applied some amount of skill and attention to its creation, especially on a movie set that employs hundreds or thousands of people. Costume designers, special effects sculptors and painters, set decorators, riggers, gaffers, cinematographers, fuck, even focus pullers are doing art. At least some of those people tried their best to make art. Even Adam Sandler sat down and wrote jokes. Even if they're not good jokes, someone out there thought they were funny enough to buy a ticket to see Jack and Jill.
Dunkachino?
Don't mind if I do!
And if you're thinking, surely hyper-commercialized art isn't really art, I would say the only reason that kind of art exists in the first place is because of capitalism. Capitalism forces artists to monetize their work so they can pay rent and continue to make their art. Under a different system, we'd probably have less shitty art being churned out just to fill a movie studio's yearly release roster, and people wouldn't be pressured by strict deadlines and go into production without a script or release a movie with unfinished VFX. Achieving this new system probably isn't going to happen in my lifetime or your lifetime, but it's definitely not going to happen by taking the easy route of making art by using and implementing AI to meet those deadlines. I'd say just start paying your CGI artists and writers and actors a living wage is a much better approach, but again, capitalism encourages greed and exploitation. So, rock in a hard place. From a consumer standpoint, people all want free or cheap art, but haggling over commissions or stealing someone's art is not actionable or ethical, and neither is raising the cost of Netflix and YouTube premium subscriptions. As far as the creation of art goes, we'd all also like to be better artists ourselves, but there's a high barrier to entry for many of the arts as supplies and tools aren't exactly affordable in most cases. Especially in film and video creation, where you have to factor in time and money required to hire a crew and talent and lights and mics and cameras just to film a short or a sketch, let alone an entire movie. But relying on AI to supplement your lack of talent or access is not making you a better artist or better art. It's a crutch, an enticing crutch to be sure, but it teaches nothing in the process. Picking up a camera or a paintbrush comes with challenges that are overcome through failure and success. I know firsthand how frustrating it can be to have a vision in your head, but not the skill to turn that imagination into a reality. When Midjourney was released, I played around with it, making Dungeons & Dragons character art for a campaign I was running, as I didn't have the tools or skills to do it myself. I also remember, though, having the feeling of, if I can create anything, then none of this matters. Restrictions that require creative solutions are sometimes good when making art. Some of the most iconic movies are iconic because of the creator's limitations. When a filmmaker has the means to do anything, you end up with Megalopolis.
What do you think of this boner I got?
It was both overwhelming and frustrating because anything I could imagine was still not exactly what I wanted, and the tedium of having to regenerate or edit it by hand after the fact was just not worth it. Applying that feeling to using it in filmmaking, it's a logistical nightmare. When AI video is created, there's no going in and editing the camera position slightly or reshooting a scene if the lighting is off. At least in programs like Blender and Cinema 4D and Nuke, you can tweak a shot and render it again. But everything is baked into every new AI output, even the changes you didn't want. You get what you get, which is why there are so many different mustaches in the heist. And how do you prompt the AI to make sure all the mustaches are consistently Burt Reynolds and not John Waters? Yeah, it's probably a hassle coming up with a shooting schedule on a real set and hiring talent and making sure your cinematographer isn't in the shot.
I was looking at the light.
Oh, good for you. And how was it?
But there is a tangible control over the set where you can see and make changes in real time. Now that it's so prevalent and will continue to perpetuate, we should all be hyper aware of what we're consuming and how it was created. There's a YouTube channel on here that started making these like digestible celebrity documentaries a couple years back with honestly production quality that rivaled the most expensive HBO miniseries. But the moment they started incorporating AI images, not even video, I was out. It's not like they even added anything more to the video itself where stock or archive footage couldn't achieve the same result. It's a huge turnoff for me now when someone relies on that crutch, even in small doses, instead of coming up with a more creative solution. We can be creative on our own, and outsourcing creativity to a machine learning algorithm is some of the most dystopic shit we've ever come up with. And the only way to really combat it is to just stop engaging with those who create and spread AI slop. Just block them and buy someone's real art.
We don't read and write poetry because it's cute. We read and write poetry because we are members of the human race, and the human race is filled with passion. Medicine, law, business, engineering, these are noble pursuits and necessary to sustain life. But poetry, beauty, romance, love, these are what we stay alive for. To quote from Whitman, "O me, O life of the questions of these recurring, of the endless trains of the faithless, of cities filled with the foolish, What good amid these, O me, O life? Answer, that you are here, that life exists and identity, that the powerful play goes on and you may contribute a verse. That the powerful play goes on and you may contribute a verse. What will your verse be?
That's the video. Thanks so much for sticking around. If you made it this far, that means you're special. Now make sure you follow the rules of the channel and you like and share and subscribe and comment. Comment down below what else makes you special aside from being a loyal fan of mine, or whether or not you think I should cut my hair. I'm kind of over this. This is bothering me lately. I never know what to do with it. I hate wearing a hat. Should I just buzz it? You know, just fully lose my mind? Until next time, vanish.